Let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings because this team is in a very interesting situation with their quarterback position. They have a massive quarterback problem that they have to solve through the NFL draft. Right now, the best quarterback on this roster is Sam Darnold. And we all know that Sam Darnold is not the best option to have on the week-to-week basis if he is your starting quarterback. Now, you can say that Sam Darnold never got a fair shake in the NFL. When he was drafted by the New York Jets, they did not have the right offensive line. You had terrible coaching from day one. They went out, they hired Adam Gase, was a terrible head coach of this team. It's the reason why he is no longer in the NFL in general. And they did not have the best supporting cast around Sam Darnold. So they trade him to the Carolina Panthers. For the first couple of games of the Carolina Panthers, he looked very solid. He looked very good when Christian McCaffrey was fully healthy. But at the same time, when Christian McCaffrey went down, we saw how bad Sam Darnold was. A lot of it was because the offensive line was terrible, but they had some solid weapons with the Carolina Panthers. Then they brought in Baker Mayfield. Then they released Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield goes his way with the Los Angeles Rams. Then on the back half of that season, of the last season with the Carolina Panthers, Sam Darnold did look solid. With Steve Wilks calling plays, he did look better. Then he went over to the San Francisco 49ers. He was the backup quarterback behind Brock Purdy. He got to learn some things with Kyle Shanahan. I will say this about Sam Darnold. He is talented enough to have the same type of arc that Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith had with their respective teams right now. But that is easier said than done. How many times have we seen quarterbacks that were drafted in the first round or the second round have the type of careers and have the type of turnaround that Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith has had? And part of the reason why I believe that Sam Darnold can have those type of moments with the Minnesota Vikings and he can be a very successful quarterback with this team, it's because of the weapons that they have. You have Justin Jefferson, who is one of the best wide receivers in the game. You also have Jordan Addison as well. Justin Jefferson missed some time this season, but he still had 1,074 receiving yards on the season, 5 receiving touchdowns. And Jordan Addison, when Justin Jefferson went down, he became the number one target with this team. And he looked very good. He had 911 receiving yards on the season, 10 receiving touchdowns. He is a very good wide receiver with this team. He could be a number one if Justin Jefferson was not with this team. Then you also have TJ Hockenson as well, who had 960 receiving yards on the season, 5 receiving touchdowns as well. So they have good talent around Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold just has to take care of the football and just make sure that he keeps that job locked down. Because I do believe that the Minnesota Vikings will be drafting a quarterback no matter what in the first round. They have the 11th overall pick and they traded up with the Houston Texans to take away their first round pick for this year. This team does not have a second round pick. And their biggest need right now is that quarterback position. That's their biggest need with the entire team. Yes, they can improve on the interior of the offensive line, but Sam Darnold is only on a 1-year deal. You have to go out there and give Kevin O'Connell the opportunity to go out there and develop his own quarterback for the future, whether that's Drake Maye or J.J. McCarthy. And this is when things get very interesting. This is when the real conversation starts because we know Sam Darnold is on this roster. It's the quarterback that they should go with moving forward. Do they trade up and try to get a guy like J.J. McCarthy or Drake Maye? I want to start off with Drake Maye. Drake Maye, on paper, is the ideal fit. Big kid, very smooth runner in the open field, huge arm. He reminds me a lot of Sam Darnold. In some ways, you could say that he is a better Sam Darnold coming out of college. But the one thing that both of these quarterbacks have in common, when they were both in college, they turned the football over a lot. Now, Drake Maye in 2022 had phenomenal numbers. In 2023, the numbers did go down. A lot of that is because some of the better talent around that Carolina team went away. Josh Downs went to the NFL. He's now an NFL wide receiver with the Indianapolis Colts. And some of those offensive linemen left as well. And it put a lot of responsibility on Drake Maye to go out there and make something out of nothing. And he tried too much. He's trying to play hero ball. That's why he got in trouble. He had 38 passing touchdowns to 7 interceptions in 2022. In 2023, 24 passing touchdowns to 9 interceptions. So the touchdown numbers dipped in passing, but the interceptions went up +2. It's not a good look. Part of that is because his footwork is atrocious at times. He didn't have those problems in 2022 because the offensive line was better. He has great accuracy. He can make some crazy throws. In terms of just having crazy arm talent and just being able to make some crazy throws, he's right there with Caleb Williams. He has that potential. The thing is the Minnesota Vikings, if they trade up to get a guy like Drake Maye, you have to trade up with the New England Patriots more than likely. And it depends on what the Commanders do, because we all know that the Chicago Bears are going to select Caleb Williams. If the Commanders go with Jaden Daniels, you have to then talk to the Patriots and possibly give up 2 or 3 first-round picks to just get into that situation. That's an easier task said than done. NFL fans will get upset with the front office, say, why can't we get this deal done? It's easier said than done. You don't want to handicap yourself moving forward by giving up too many picks on the quarterback that may not work out. But at the same time, that quarterback does work out, no one cares about what you gave up. And then it's also this possibility as well. The Patriots take Drake. They take Drake Maye. With the 4th overall pick, you trade up with the Arizona Cardinals, and you go out there and get J.J. McCarthy. And I do think that J.J. is a safer option with this team than Drake Maye, because J.J. has never turned the football over as much as Drake Maye in college. Now, the ceiling is a bit higher with Drake Maye than it is with J.J. in my opinion. J.J. is a safer quarterback. He reminds me a lot of a faster, stronger Alex Smith. I think that he can come over with this team and he can be a very good quarterback with the Minnesota Vikings because of the weapons that they have. And the thing is, whether you draft Drake Maye or J.J., you can sit those quarterbacks down behind Sam Darnold, regardless of which one it is. You can let Sam Darnold go out there and start 5 to 6 games or the entire season if he does catch fire. And then they can develop behind Sam Darnold. Kevin O'Connell comes from that Sean McVay tree. He was on that coaching staff when they were at their highest with the Rams. So he's seen Jared Goff get developed up close and personal. He's seen the work that Sean McVay can do with a top-tier quarterback like a Matthew Stafford. And Kevin O'Connell is a very good offensive play caller. We saw the work that he did with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins had some of his best seasons underneath Kevin O'Connell. The only thing that I can say with Kevin O'Connell this season, they did not run the football enough. And it wasn't all on Kevin O'Connell. The interior of the offensive line could not get a push. We've seen him in the past refer to the run game on 1st and 2nd down. It was times throughout that stretch, and they made the NFL playoffs against the Giants, and they lost that game where they ran the football very effectively with Dalvin Cook, with Alexander Mattison. So he will go out there and he will try to run the football as much as possible. But he will also give up on the run game as well in favor of the pass game because of the weapons that they have on the perimeter. The one thing about the Minnesota Vikings, whichever way they want to go in, J.J. McCarthy or Drake Maye, you have to make sure that this is your guy. And you have to make sure that you take care of him. But this is one of the better teams and one of the better organizations to go to if you are a young quarterback because of the weapons that they have with this team. In my opinion, they should go with JJ. It's going to cost you too much to go up there with the Patriots. The Patriots are going to ask for a lot of draft picks. They may even ask for some players on the offensive end as well to help out that offense. It is easier to go up there and trade with the Arizona Cardinals, a team that is known for trading back like how they did last season to go get Paris Johnson Jr. It's easier to trade with them, or it's easier to trade with the Chargers and go get your guy in J.J. McCarthy. And I do believe that J.J. is a safer option. J.J. is more so ready to play right now than Drake Maye, in my opinion. It's just the freakish upside with Drake Maye. Because if Drake Maye is a huge hit, we're talking about a top 5 quarterback in the NFL with the arm power that he has and the ability to throw on the run and run in the open field as well. J.J. can have similar success as well. You just have a higher ceiling and a higher bust rate with Drake Maye than you do with JJ. And that's just my opinion. But when I look at the Minnesota Vikings, they have bigger holes on this team than just the quarterback position. That's just the massive position. When I look at the defense could use some work. Now, they did go out in free agency and they did make some major moves that I did like with their defense. Their defense is not horrible by any means. Their defense was horrible when they went against the New York Giants in the NFL playoffs and they lost that game because Coach Ed could not coach defense to save his life. Brian Flores is a very good defensive coordinator. Some would even say that he's a great defensive coordinator. I love the sets that he brings out with the teams, and I do believe that he is a very good defensive mind. When I look at this defensive line, they are very good. You did lose Danielle Hunter, your top pass rusher, over the last couple of years. But you did bring in Jonathan Gennard, who had 12.5 sacks on the season. A very good defensive lineman with this team. He's going to continue to be very good in the future. He just led the Houston Texans in sacks. And he benefited a lot from playing across-side Will Anderson as well. But at the same time, when Will Anderson missed games, you have to go out there and double team him. He fits the system of Brian Flores. Then you also bring in a guy like Andrew Van Ginkel, who is a very good linebacker in the NFL. A lot of fans may not know who he is, but he was a guy that Brian Flores heavily pursued out of the NFL draft when he was a head coach with that team. He had 42 solo tackles on the season. He also had 6 sacks on the season as well, and 1 interception. A very good linebacker to have around. And he fits the system of Brian Flores. And when I look at the secondary, they wanted to get younger. They did that in last year's free agency class. You bring in a guy like Byron Murphy Jr. He's not a number 1 corner, but he's not a horrible corner. 1 forced fumble in the season, 3 interceptions, 13 pass deflections as well. Love his game. Cameron Bynum, you could say, is the best player in this secondary. 94 solo tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, 9 pass deflections as well. You also have Harrison Smith with his team, who seems like he's going to play forever. He's 35 years old, and he's still balling. No, he's not the same Harrison Smith that he was in 2016 to 2017, but he's still a very good safety to have around. He's just a very good veteran. And it's really sad because Lewis Cine could possibly go out there and still be a good safety with this team. But at the same time, I think the ship has sailed on this kid. I think that his career with the Minnesota Vikings is coming to an end. He is buried on the depth chart. If you don't know who Lewis Cine is, he's a former first-round pick from Clemson. When he came out of college, a lot of people had a lot of high aspirations and had high hopes for this kid. It's just not good enough, man. He broke his leg on a special teams play. It was on a kick return. Hasn't been the same since. He just can't find his way on the field. But they have some solid players on this defense as a whole. And you also have the cornerback Evans as well, who is a very good playmaker with this team. I think that he can be a number 1 corner with this team. He's only 24 years old. 3 forced fumbles, 1 interception, 7 pass deflections as well. And the biggest thing and the most impressive thing with the Minnesota Vikings this season, when Kirk Cousins went down, the defense was keeping them in games. Josh Dobbs came in against the Arizona Cardinals. He did have a good moment here and there, but then his accuracy just went completely out of whack. He was no good. Then they reverted to Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins was completely terrible because he can't take care of the football. In all those games, they were close. For the simple fact that the offense is so explosive, you're really never out of the football game, and the fact that the defense played better as well. Then you also have Jaron Hall, who just isn't a good passer in the NFL. He just doesn't fit the NFL mold to be a good quarterback on a day-to-day, well, on a week-to-week basis. I do believe that the Minnesota Vikings will go with J.J. McCarthy, and I do believe that J.J. is the best bet for this team. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to do something in the NFL draft. To put all your eggs in one basket underneath Sam Darnold, you may be asking for trouble. And at the same time, like I mentioned this before, he could possibly go out there and shock the NFL world and have a great season with the Minnesota Vikings. But let me know in the comment section below how you guys feel about the Minnesota Vikings and who should be the starting quarterback with this team for week 1 moving forward. Should it be J.J. McCarthy, Drake Maye, or Sam Darnold? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, on each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.